Breaking news coming in. India Today has gotten an inside track on the government's new regulation and rules for OTT apps. Sources have indicated that there's going to be a new three-tier regulatory mechanism for OTT apps. Sources have also gone ahead and indicated there is going to be new oversight mechanism for OTT video platforms. Further, the sources have revealed government is going to be ordering stronger OTT self-regulation and oversight. The OTT rules will be similar to the mechanism for television channels. That is what the sources are telling us. That's the big story we are getting you. The inside scoop and the inside track on the government's new rule for OTT apps. In less than 26 minutes from now, the government is going to be addressing on this very issue. We'll cut live and get you the latest. But for now, we've got Rahul Srivastav joining in from Delhi, Prerna Mishra, who's the managing editor of social media and content services at India Today, Manas Tiwari, assistant editor, India Today Tech, Pia Hingorani reporting from Mumbai. She tracks entertainment. Let me start off first with Prerna Mishra, who's our managing editor of social media and content services, who deals with this day in and day out. Prerna, I want to come straight across to you of what you make of this particular move. Would you say that this is a much needed move, or would you say that the government somewhere perhaps is playing moral nanny into social media and OTT content? How do you view this?
Shweti, I think it's very important to set the fulcrum of this discussion right. Is this move probably done with the objective of curtailing and curbing social media and freedom of expression? Or is it an extension of some of the judicial nuances that we've been witnessing in this area? To me, it is more like a clarification on the jurisdiction battle which has been happening for so long, for the past few months, with Twitter, with Facebook, with OTT platforms, where when the government actually intervenes and interjects or calls for information or asks for some controls, the platforms really come back and say, you have no jurisdiction over us to tell us to do what to do, what to do. So effectively, I think it is trying to iron out those jurisdiction issues in the erstwhile IT Act. It's an extension of the IT Act, but with some clarifications on the jurisdiction of an intermediary, because, we've seen that Facebook sometimes calls itself a media company, and at other times it calls itself an intermediary. Similarly, Twitter has come back and said that, oh, you don't have the jurisdiction to ask us to take off something. We will decide whether the, community violation is happening in that particular post or not. So it is mainly, to me, if you ask in a nutshell, it is more like fixing a jurisdiction so that when the government or any other aggrieved party goes to these platforms to raise a grievance, there is a, legal mechanism under which there is no ambiguity under which these concerns are raised. Also, we've seen that the reaction time has been reduced. And to me, I think that's a very important point, and that is going to be a bone of contention between the platforms and the government. Because, if you're reducing the reaction time to 36 or 34 hours, it's going to be, a big challenge for these platforms to bring down that content immediately. Right. We've seen in the past, and we have had, Chaiti, some of the instances have been in-house, where some of the anchors have come under great attack. Some of the numbers have been leaked, and there has been a lot of hate speech against our influencers. Right. But, when we go back to the platform, we find ourselves completely, hitting against a wall when it comes to getting that content down immediately. There is always a lot of lag, a lot of back and forth. There is more of algorithm than manual intervention. So obviously, there is a little bit of ambiguity which needs to be ironed out. And to me, this law might be a toddler step in that direction.
That's a very fantastic point, because you're viewing it from a prism of somebody who manages social media and content services, who says that the jurisdiction needs to be fixed, and perhaps there is a lot of fine-tuning which is required. There seems to be many loopholes at the moment, and that's a very good prism to view this move as. There will be certain naysayers as well, and I'm going to be coming to that in just about a bit, and I'm guessing the naysayers are more going to be maybe about the creative liberties that are perceived to be stifled on OTT platform, and that's a different topic as well. But let's bring in Rahul Srivastava, our National Affairs editor, on this as well. Rahul, this is a code of ethics. Is this a guideline? And it seems to be a 3-tier regulatory framework. Does that make it draconian, or is this just a guideline?
You see, what we are being told that these are going to be brought in as rules, and these rules largely mean that there is going to be no amendment to the Information Act. That's one very critical element, and it is going to make certain big obligations as far as sites like Google, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp, Netflix, Amazon, Prime Video, Hotstars and several others. Now, what we are being told is that there is likelihood of certain rules which are going to be specified for the government. But when there is a dispute, largely, there is going to be more emphasis on self-regulation like there is there for broadcasting channels. Also, interestingly, what we are being told by sources is that till now there was no specific guidelines. And in the absence of that, several concerns of the government vis-a-vis social order, national integrity and others, these questions remain unanswered and used to create a sense of what one can call friction between the government and the sites. Now that issue is going to be made extremely clear, that what exactly are the obligations as far as these platforms are concerned. There is going to be also a sense of grading in terms of the big ones which have a large subscriber base and those ones which are smaller. One interesting element which is also emerging is there is a possibility, though the issue is sub judice, is that can state assemblies be summoning these OTT and other platforms?
Yeah.
Because in the recent past there have been such a certain calls which is largely a concern, and that's where this rule is going to be, that it is largely going to be the central the entity, that is a union government or parliament, which will have powers to summon. One will have to wait and see when Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad announces the guidelines.
Yes, we wait and see what the exact announcement. Yes, go ahead, Rahul. You've got somebody with you?
I've got Aman with me. Aman has just joined India today, and Aman has been following the ministry for a very long time. Aman, is it going to be a tough rule, amendment rule kind of thing? Because I'm being told that these are likely going to be rules which are going to have emphasis on self-discipline and self-regulation.
Rahul, the government's focus has been on light but tight regulation. That is what Secretary Amit Khare has also been saying. And so they have brought an ethics code. So till now there were no ground rules for web-based entities. So now OTT platforms, the internet sites, etc., they will also have to follow web-based some ground rules like obscenity. It cannot be an open license to show obscenity, things which are not in the country's interest.
Poor depiction of women.
Yeah, absolutely, and treatment to
social order, national integrity,
treatment given to minors. So all these aspects, there will be an ethics code like that is there for other conventional media organizations.
Also, interestingly, that
well, just hold on that thought. Just because he mentioned about the code of ethics as well, I want to take this across now to Pia Hingorani, who's joining us from Mumbai. Pia, while Prerna painted a picture of how this is a much needed step, perhaps, for social media, and she explained how the jurisdiction needs to be fixed as well. But I'm now talking about the OTT platforms. You deal with filmmakers, you report on the entertainment fraternity. The entertainment fraternity, of course, believes that creative liberty and art should not have any kind of walls. There should be that much of allowance for them to express what they want to express without that particular fear of some moral nanny watching over you. How does the film fraternity respond to this? Are they in agreement to have somebody look after what they're putting out there as content on the OTT platforms?
Well, Charity, let's begin with, films. Right from the beginning, we've seen a lot of films like Urta Punjab, Padmavat run into, censorship issues with, the film certification, which is what actually gave birth to the OTT platforms, be it Netflix, Amazon, ZEE5, and a host of them. And, suddenly Bollywood found an outlet to express themselves, to put out stories that had never been told before. before only because of the censorship laws. So for them, this was their chance to actually go out and put out those stories, be it Tandav, be it, right from the beginning with Sacred Games and so many others. However, recently, because of the fact that, perhaps all these, be it The Family Man or even for that matter, Gunjan Saxena ran into, controversies, with different sects of society. That's when this entire conversation of, perhaps censoring OTT came into play. And of course, let me just tell you that the film industry is not very happy with it. They all feel that they're, extremely cautious about the kind of stories that they put out. They do not want to, at the same time, disrespect women, but at the same time, those stories are important for the society, and freedom of speech should not be curbed. In fact, recently, I spoke to Pariniti Chopra. She has a, an OTT film coming out tomorrow, and she was like, "This is not the way forward." They, as part of society, are very conscious about the stories that they put out, and censoring OTT platforms is not giving a right message out there. And in fact, The Family Man season 2 was supposed to premiere this month, but because of the fact that Amazon ran into trouble with Tandav last month, they've actually pushed the release to May, because that also deals with political issues.
That's a very interesting. Yes. So of course we get how the film fraternity also feels about, the creative fraternity feels about this. I'm going to bring in Prerna on this one. Prerna, let's bifurcate these two now. One is the OTT platforms, where perhaps the filmmakers, as Pia mentioned, would feel that their creative liberties are getting throttled, as well as art should not have any walls, no boundaries. Then there is a social media part of it, which of course you've multiple times in conversations also mentioned how it requires a cleanup and a little bit of fine-tuning as well. You see these guidelines getting bifurcated, and clear bifurcation and guidelines come in for both, where the much-needed cleanup comes in as far as social media is concerned, but at the same time they let the creative freedom and expression of these filmmakers be?
Chetty, for both, for social media as well as the OTT platforms, what we need to understand, of course, we will know the nitty-gritty of the rules in a little while. But what we need to understand is that there is already a self-regulatory mechanism, or there are associations. Like, for broadcast, we have the NBAs of the world, and, we have, for print, we have the press, sorry, I've forgotten the authority, but print also has a self-regulatory authority which kind of decides what is a best way to self-discipline. Yes. So I have a doubt that the government will come up with, slapping some overarching authority which will control all this. I don't think they can do that. I don't think they're in a position to do that. They will possibly just push the self-regulatory mechanism which is already existing in the broadcast community or is present on the print side of journalism, which is the code of ethics, the code of journalism, the code of ethics that a journalist has to follow on air, in print. They will probably just extend that code of ethics to govern the social media bodies as well as the broadcast norms to govern the OTT platforms, which is to say that if a film cannot show obscenity in public domain under a particular rating, why would an OTT platform have the creative freedom, as we call it, to show obscenity when there is no monitoring mechanism, or there is no kind of
very good argument, yes.
Right. So I can say this as a person, if you allow me to step back and talk as a parent or a mother. Yes. I would certainly want some kind of a regulation where I have, you would have seen all the OTT presentations in the last few months. Some of them are explicitly gory. Some of them have a lot of hate speech. Some of them have extreme amount of obscenity, which probably the minors at, every family has
the counter argument to that, just to play devil's advocate, is that you have parental locks in place. You have these disclaimers in place. They don't work as a mother, tell me that.
Yes, I can agree with you that, Cheti, but when those cross that content, now there is no boundary, that content kind of flows between YouTube and Facebook and Twitter and, it's all over the place. And people, minors especially, have access to that information on platforms which probably have no authentication required.
Yes.
And I know of these platforms where minors are watching stuff where there's no authentication required.
Okay.
Right? So my moot point here is that
Yes.
we are not looking at a super regulator. And
Yes.
I don't think anybody will accept it. Neither will the social media platforms, nor will the media fraternity, nor will the movie fraternity accept any of such a super cop kind of an arrangement. It is not acceptable in a democracy where there's freedom of expression. But there have to be certain basic self-regulatory guidelines, rules that would make anybody liable for stuff which is not right.
You know, that is a
if it
fantastic
hate speech.
perspective coming in from somebody who manages social media and is a mother and a parent herself as well. Let me take this across to Rahul Srivastav too. Rahul, what Prerna says is perhaps, you know, this is going to be the censorship that we're seeing in film. If it can apply to film, why can't it apply to OTT platforms? And she says this in the capacity of her mother, and we understand her concerns coming in. Now, my specific question is, if it falls under the censorship board, that is the CBFC, do they even have the bandwidth? It is a huge mandate given the kind of content that they would have to regulate.
Chetty, that is why there are two basic layers of regulation likely to be created. One is a self-regulatory element, and then there is a possibility of the government announcing an interministerial entity that will largely oversee and supervise from the top. You see, the crisis is that the government over the last few years has realized that not just in terms of obscenity, poor depiction of women, depiction of minors, there are certain very serious cases which have come forward vis-a-vis social order and national integrity. And that is where the government feels that since these are very impressionable entities, there needs to be a certain degree of check. Aman is still with me. Aman, what are the concerns of the government? That why is it just because there is certain need of censorship as far as the content which is there, or there is a larger concern vis-a-vis law and order, social national integrity and others?
Rahul, this has been a long-standing issue. Government has been maintaining that the social media entities cannot be above the law. Though social media entities have repeatedly insisted that, you know, any form of censorship is actually regulation. So the government is trying to find a middle way where actually there will be a three-tier system, that these entities will be first required to appoint officers who will try to kind of look at content and try to stop content. Which
But how do you regulate so much of content?
So that is why the three tiers. So the entities, social media companies, say any of these tech giants, they'll have to first appoint officers who'll do it at their level first. In case people have grievances, like TV channels, there is a BCCC where people can approach and complain against TV channels. So similarly, there will be a self-regulatory body which will be kind of headed by eminent experts, independent body it is expected to be. So there the complaints can go to those. The complaints can go to those self-regulatory mechanism. In case complaints still persists or is of a serious nature, there will be an oversight mechanism in terms of a body which will be an interministerial committee. It will have representatives from different ministries, say law, justice, INB, different ministries. So the complaints...
And also women and social welfare.
Yeah, that's right. Rahul,
So,
just hold on
Jyoti,
to
this
that
is
thought
Aman,
right there. That's I appreciate that particular input, but we've got Manas Tiwari, who is the assistant editor, India Today Tech, also joining us on this broadcast. Manas, as somebody who deals with tech and who's the tech editor, can big tech regulations really end up solving real issue, or do you see that only increase state control?
See, what we have to understand here is that while these rules are essentially to regulate the social media platforms, all these platforms, unlike OTT platforms, have user-generated content, and they also have to safeguard the interest of their users. And that is something which will be very interesting to see how they manage to, safeguard the interest of their users while following these rules. So I'll give you an example, and if the rules remain the same as the draft that we have got, there is one rule which asks all the social media platforms to provide government with the originator of an information. And that is essentially for messaging platforms like WhatsApp, Telegram, Signal, which means that if a message has come from a person, then they need to provide the identification of that person. Now, all these platforms work on end-to-end encryption, and that is how they protect the data of their users, which is if I am sending a message on WhatsApp, it can only be read by the sender and the receiver, and in between it is end-to-end encrypted, which is it is converted into codes, which so that no one else can read that message, including the employees of that particular platform. Now, to provide the origin of the message, you have to break end-to-end encryption, and now that raises a lot of questions around the privacy of these platforms and the data which is the user data which is on the platform. So
all right, Manas, hold on to that thought right there. I request Prerna, Rahul, Manas, Pia, all of you all to just stay on with us.
Hi everyone, Preeti Chaudhary here. Hope you like this video. For latest news and analysis, like and subscribe to the India Today YouTube channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated. Thank you for watching.